unrecognizable. Never has one single day of college football had so much impact on the postseason. But we're here to sort it all out and tell you which teams moved up, which teams moved out. Some will be thrilled with their bowl assignments, others devastated. We'll lay out every matchup from the Las Vegas Bowl to the Gator Bowl to the big game for all the Tostitos. It's the Bowl Selection Special. Next. Into focus comes the symbol of what they're playing for, the Tostitos Fiesta Bowl. That's the Steers Trophy, which goes to the national champions of this game. The AP poll will have a vote after the bowl, but this will be presented on the field to the winner of the Fiesta Bowl. Welcome to our Bowl Selection Special. Chris Fowler, Lee Corso, and Kirk Herbstreit. Still trying to catch our breath. An amazing day of college football championship Saturday. We had a ringside seat for UCLA and Miami down at the Orange Bowl, then sat back and watched in amazement on TV as the Big 12 and SEC title games unfolded. Let's put this Saturday in perspective, though. What you had is the team with the longest winning streak in the country, UCLA, blow a 17-point lead and lose. Kansas State then inherited the longest win streak in the country. They had it for about 3 hours. They blew a 15-point lead and lost. And then Tennessee, the #1 team in the country, in trouble, down with 8 minutes to go before rallying in typical Tennessee fashion. And what a tribute to the grit of teams like Miami and Texas A&M as well.
Yeah, but you know, we're talking about this, Chris. We're talking about the pressure put on these teams because, remember, these are $11 million ball games, and I think they add extra pressure to the coaches and the players. And if you don't believe me, check these examples out. 3 of the 4 favorites yesterday lost. The only one that won did not do as well as the experts thought. And you got my point? The other team that was involved in the BCS was Notre Dame, and they had a tremendous loss against USC to not even get it. I think it's tougher. I think they put a lot of pressure on the coaches and the players. I don't know if it isn't too much pressure.
Well, I think a lot of that pressure, sure, is from that, but it's also from the teams that they are playing yesterday. Let's not look past the fact that Miami and Texas A&M played their hearts out. You look at Miami, they're down 38-21 against UCLA's offense in the third quarter. Somehow found a way to get that game done. And how about Texas A&M? They're down pretty much the whole game, kept fighting back, got it done. R.C. Slocum of A&M, Butch Davis at Miami, congratulations. Both teams did an outstanding job of never giving up.
In the meantime, heartbreak for UCLA and also for Kansas State. And all the numbers we've crunched, all the hours of lost sleep, our researchers, Brad and Chris, spent working out these numbers week by week by week. Who's going to win? Margin of victory if there's 3 unbeatens. Well, the old guard's kind of laughing today and saying, I told you so. The computer said all along we wouldn't have 3 unbeatens. Tennessee, of course, and Florida State headed for the Tostitos Fiesta Bowl. Kansas State, interestingly, does not move one bit in the BCS standings. There were 3 coming into the loss. They come out 3. Ohio State, that had to raise some eyebrows in Columbus, and UCLA drops down to #5. So, as it was planned at the beginning of this season, Tostitos Fiesta Bowl matches the 1 and 2 teams in the BCS standings, and it's Tennessee, the only major conference unbeaten, the first Tennessee team to ever be 12-0 against Florida State, which just like '93 gets a little help and near the end of the season to have a chance to play for the national championship. Remember, the Noles have lost 1 out of the last 16 bowl games they have played in, and of course was to Florida. Ohio State will take on Texas A&M in the Nokia Sugar Bowl. That game will be played on January 1st. Ohio State, the at-large team, was co-champs of the Big Ten. They lose the Rose Bowl tiebreaker to Wisconsin. And A&M gets the automatic bid as champions of the Big 12 in that great double overtime win. The Alamo Bowl was where they were headed if they lost. Talk about the difference of fortunes based on Championship Saturday. To the FedEx Orange Bowl, the night of January 2nd, Syracuse gets the automatic bid as champions of the Big East. And Florida is in that large selection out of the SEC. Combined, these teams have 5 losses, but together, Orange Bowl folks believe they'll be able to sell a lot of tickets. And then, of course, on New Year's Day, the granddaddy of them all, Wisconsin, winning that tiebreaker with Ohio State, goes and takes on UCLA. Not a bad consolation prize for the Bruins after blowing that lead down in Miami. They play the game on their home field. This is a rematch, by the way, of the '94 Rose Bowl, the last time either team was there, and Wisconsin won that one. All right, BCS, all the numbers, the season of controversy, when it shook down, did it work?
I'm just glad it's over. You know, it was a long way to go throughout this year. One thing the BCS does not have to worry about are possibly 3 unbeaten. But you have Tennessee now at 12-0, and you have 7 teams with 1 loss. So instead of worrying about 3 unbeatens, they had to worry about 7 one-loss teams, and the formula decided Florida State was the best of those one-loss teams. If you look at the polls, it's interesting. The polls agree. So if this system was last year, we'd have had the same 2 teams playing for all the marbles.
Yeah, but one thing disappoints me. I would have liked to see Kansas State play in the Orange Bowl against Syracuse because you know what? They're 3 in the bowl championship formula, and they got to remember the Alamo. But let me tell you something. Florida is a good football team, and they're going there for one reason. They sell tickets. But remember, Florida's not a bad football team. They lost 2 games this year to number 1 and number 2, both on the road. Hey, Florida's a pretty good football team.
They're a good football team. You're saying Kansas State's maybe a more deserving football team. That's pretty harsh. You lose a double overtime game. You are 1 play away if you're Kansas State, 1 play away from playing for the national title and a battle of co-number ones in the 2 polls. And you dropped down to the elevator.
I'm telling you,
they're very deserving.
Telling you.
They dropped down to 3rd. Now, there are other reactions to this. Do the folks in Columbus feel perfectly happy that they're going to the Sugar Bowl, did not get left out of the BCS, but they also don't get to play for a national championship? Here's John Cooper.
I think I can make an argument that we feel like, hey, we're one of the top 2 teams in the country. We're number 1 for 9 weeks, and we lose the ball game for, by 4 points to the day we played a pretty good Michigan State football team, and we dropped to 7. It wouldn't bother me to see the top 8 teams at the end of the year, go play it out.
Florida State ends up looking very good because A&M and Miami, 2 of their opponents, pulled off big wins yesterday. But I'm not sure it's all that clear-cut. The second best team in the country is Florida State or Ohio State. We now bring in Tony Barnhart from down there in Atlanta, where he watched a very typical Tennessee comeback against Mississippi State. They've done it all year long, Tony.
You're absolutely right, Chris. I tell you, Philip Fulmer said it best. He said, the way we won tonight is the way we've been winning all year. They came back to beat Florida. They came back to beat Arkansas. They came back to beat Syracuse. But Tennessee is a team that finds the way to make plays with the game on the line. It was exciting, and I think they're excited to be going to Tempe.
Coach talked about the pressure of this championship Saturday. There's something to that, I think. I think that when teams get in a neutral field, in a dome, in a win-or-die situation, something tends to happen, and Tennessee handled it better than the other 2 unbeaten teams did yesterday, Tony.
Oh, no question. Now, you saw early on in the game last night, they're playing it pretty close to the vest. T. Martin, the quarterback's not playing all that well, so they're running the ball. But when they get behind, and when they got behind last night, T. Martin came up and made the play, of course, the big play to Peerless Price and Wright. They've handled pressure all year, and they did it again last night.
I'm sure the fans were ecstatic. First of all, they didn't have to worry about the BCS when they saw the UCLA lost. Then they see Kansas State lost, and maybe they started to cheer until they realized, uh-oh, we get Florida State in the Fiesta Bowl. How do the Vols react to their opponent? Were they thinking at all about playing the Seminoles on January 4th?
Well, they were thinking about it last night, and they wondered what it was going to be like. I think they would worry more if Chris Winkie was available for Florida State, but they do worry about that great defense. I mean, Mississippi State put a lot of pressure on T. Martin last night, but I guarantee he hadn't seen anything till he's seen those guys from Florida State.
And Joe Lee Dunn has an interesting blitz package. Mississippi State brought pressure on T. Martin, but I'll tell you what, you're right. The Noles, a little different class of athlete. The pass rush, you got to beat Florida State, well, you got to handle the pass rush. As we go to break here, we've got a lot more coming up in our bowl selection specials. We'll look at some other bowl games. Arkansas and Michigan in the CompUSA Citrus Bowl. The Cotton Bowl. Ricky Williams against that Mississippi State team, coached by Jackie Sherrill, who's 7-2 against the Longhorns. Is the male cattle population safe? And the Bulldogs take on Texas. Notre Dame and Georgia Tech in the Toyota Gator Bowl and the Outback Bowl. Very interesting story involving the selection of the SEC team to take on Penn State in that bowl game. We'll talk more about that. Plenty more ahead in our bowl selection special. We will talk about the Holiday Bowl. Arizona, disappointed by not going to the Rose Bowl, but not a bad consolation prize. And K-State also disappointed.
Some people call it retirement planning. I think of this as future construction. Year by year, block by block, until...
It's our dream house.
Beautiful. But I was hoping we could afford to travel.
This plan can help make it happen. We can even make sure you've got worry-free income for life.
AXA, dynamic vision, equitable, a trusted resource. Call us. Equitable is a member of the global AXA group.
Are you okay?
Taxi! Here's Cassie.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Prodigy Internet has faster download speeds, so you spend less time online and more time on life. Prodigy Internet.
I'll see you.
Hi, man.
Me too.
Me too.
Ah, the credit card game. We've all played it.
I'll go 5.9%.
That an intro rate?
Yeah. First, you get a great introductory rate, but then it goes up.
So you'll raise us to 17.9% in 6 months?
Yeah.
But now, if you have good credit, you can win the credit card game.
Let's make it interesting.
Too rich for my blood.
I'll call.
With the 9.9% fixed rate Visa Platinum card from Capital One.
That's a great hand.
It's not an introductory rate, and with no annual fee, all the perks of Platinum and a low fixed rate, you may never have to switch cards again. Act now. Call 1-800-CAPITAL and start saving hundreds, even thousands of dollars a year. Call 1-800-CAPITAL. Apply today for the 9.9% fixed rate Visa Platinum from Capital One. In the credit card game, it's the winning card.
Welcome back to our Bowl Selection Special. Taking a look at more of the matchups that are now official in the Sun Bowl. It is USC against 6-5 TCU team. So the WAC does get, in this final year of existence, as we know it, 4 teams in there. Purdue against Kansas State. And once again, K-State a play away from playing for the national title. Now they take on an unranked Purdue team, number 4 out of the Big Ten. Virginia and Georgia. What are you chuckling? We'll talk about that. It was a big drop if you put it that way, isn't it? Virginia and Georgia in the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. And the Culligan Holiday Bowl, number 6 Arizona, after sitting around and rooting for UCLA in a weird twist, has to watch the heartbreaker that puts them in the Holiday Bowl against Nebraska, but still a pretty good matchup. Take you back to the Orange Bowl. Cade McNown trying to rally his team. Actually, they're leading by 3 when this key fumble. Brad Melsby, again, his knee looks down from that angle. If you go frame by frame, from different angles, that ball is popping out. It's just a bang-bang play, very close, not nearly as clear-cut, although the Arizona guys thought it was very clear-cut as they watched. And then Edgerrin James knifing through the porous UCLA defense that really could not stop anybody. And so Arizona knocked out of the Rose Bowl. They're the only team in either the Pac-10 or the Big Ten never to go to the Rose Bowl, and they were just seconds away. They lose it on a heartbreaker. They take on a Nebraska team, obviously, coming off a co-national championship they did not expect to be in a Holiday Bowl, but 3 losses in his first season. Frank Solich against Arizona. That's a pretty interesting matchup. The Huskers, 30 consecutive bowls. They extend their NCAA record. But look at Arizona. They've been one of the most successful bowl teams, 15-1 in their last 16 games as well. First time ever to the Holiday Bowl. Quick thoughts on that when Ortiz Jenkins is coming against that Husker defense?
Well, last year it was North Carolina and UCLA. They got left out. And this year, obviously, Arizona is one of the teams with the short end of the stick. Dick Tomey has said all year, that even early back in preseason, this might be his most talented offensive team that he's ever had since he's been in Arizona. And I agree with him. We've seen the talent all year this year. The thing to remember about this game is people are talking about Arizona missing the Rose Bowl. That's a big hurt, and that's a loss for them. But they inherit a much more appreciated and much more respected program in Nebraska. I think they're going to be ready to play Nebraska. And not as excited about playing in the Holiday Bowl, but playing that opponent, they'll be pumped.
You know, Nebraska has my 2 favorite words going for them, though. Urgency and redemption. That's it. Try one more time. Urgency and redemption. And the reason they got that urgency and redemption is they haven't lost 4 football games since 1986. They got 3 losses right now. But the problem with urgency and redemption is speed kills it. And that's what Arizona's got. This is going to be a good game, but I don't think they can.
All these years you told me about urgency and redemption. And now you say that speed trumps urgency and redemption in athletes. I think these bowl games so often come down to how badly a team wants to play and how motivated they are. We're going to find out about the Huskers when they line up against the Arizona Wildcats with just that 1 loss to UCLA. The game is Wednesday, December 30th, 8 o'clock Eastern time from Holiday Country out there in San Diego. Now to the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl, Virginia against Georgia. This is a rematch of the 95 Peach Bowl when Hines Ward threw for more than 400 yards in the Dogs' victory. Interesting matchup here because it was, you know, the SEC a little bit reshuffled when they had the situation where Florida went up to the BCS. The entire SEC, which had 8 teams bowl eligible, had to get reshuffled. See the 5 bowl appearances for Virginia in the 90s. The important thing to know about this season, they did not collapse at the end of the regular season. They kept things together. Georgia, 1-2 all-time in the Peach Bowl. You think they might have an advantage playing just down the road from the campus in Athens with all those Dog fans there. But they lost 2 out of 3 of those games. How do you see this one?
Well, Quincy Carter and Georgia's offense, very, very explosive. You're going to have to see a Virginia Cavalier defense. It's played well all year. Try to keep them in the game with defense. But if the Cavaliers want to win the game, they're going to have to rely on running the ball. You have a couple running backs, Thomas Jones, Antoine Womack. They led the ACC in rushing. If they can get the running game going, they've got a chance. But you know how Quincy is. They're tough.
This could be one of the most exciting games and entertaining games of all. Because I like Quincy Carter as much as my friend here. I think he's the best freshman quarterback in all of football. And I'll tell you another thing about him. Georgia Bulldogs, they love Atlanta, Georgia. And everybody likes Chick-fil-A sandwiches. So that's why we're all going to Atlanta to see this game. It's going to be terrific. I have Chick-fil-A sandwiches, bowl game. This would be terrific.
That's like a grilled chicken sandwich.
No, it's a terrific sandwich. They did not invent the sandwich. They just made it the best sandwich.
Okay.
No, I did a commercial for it.
Evidently you did. The Cavaliers and the Bulldogs. And that, what is it, Lee? The
Chick-fil-A.
Beach Bowl, Thursday, December 31st, New Year's Eve at 5 o'clock Eastern Time. And the Stanford Independence Bowl, and Stanford makes nice Sharpie pens that we use all the time right here. Texas Tech against Ole Miss. Another one of those, there's two of them, those Big 12 against SEC matchups. The American General Music City Bowl, Alabama. Gave some credibility. They go there against Virginia Tech. And the Micron PC Bowl, very excited yesterday. I talked to their reps, Earl Morrill's son, Mitch, part of the bowl committee there, because Miami now comes into that game with a lot of momentum. It will take on NC State. Then, West Virginia and Missouri, the Insight.com Bowl, and Lee's favorite team, Tulane, in the AXA Equitable Liberty Bowl. We'll talk more about that matchup a little bit later on. And also the Heritage Bowl, Southern Bethune-Cookman, Jeep Oahu Bowl, Air Force against Washington, the champions of the WAC against the Huskies. Oregon and Colorado is a rematch of Cotton Bowl a few years ago, won by the Buffaloes. Marshall wins the MAC bid to the Motor City Bowl against that large Louisville, and the Humanitarian Bowl out there in Boise. It is Idaho, the home team, against Southern Miss, a long way from Hattiesburg in December. It all begins right here on ESPN2, the Las Vegas Bowl. San Diego State, the Aztecs under Ted Tollner, a nice season quietly against North Carolina, 6 o'clock Eastern Time on the 19th of December. More coming up.
I've been the New York Giants public address announcer for 42 years.
Here you are, Mr. Shepard.
Thank you, Mary Johnson. But I've never seen anything like this NFL.com. Team reports, chat sessions, and best of all, oh, excuse me for a moment. Cannell to Callaway, first down, Giants. Real-time, play-by-play. Ah, technology.
Come on, Joey. When Daddy says smile, his Samsung camera will do the rest. It's got autofocus, a zoom lens, and even switchable panorama. Feature for feature, Daddy could spend a lot more, but he couldn't buy a better camera.
Simply amazing.
Simply Samsung.
The Chicago Bears line it up against the Minnesota Vikings on ESPN Sunday Night Football.
Leif Erikson would have been a hell of a linebacker. He was strong. He was fearless. He had fortitude.
Leif Erikson can kiss my fanny.
I would love to see you say that to the great Leif Erikson, because he would pummel you, and I would love to see that. I would really love to see it.
Bring it on! ESPN Sunday Night Football. The Bears against the Vikings.
I believe it's pronounced Leif Erikson.
Knowles and the Vols for that Sears Trophy, the National Championship in the Tostitos Fiesta Bowl. We'll talk more about that matchup coming up in our Bowl Selection Special. Now to the CompUSA Citrus Bowl. Always a compelling matchup because it's SEC versus Big Ten, and fans of those two conferences love to jaw about which conference is superior. An Arkansas team that is so close to 11-0. Think about it. The fumble against Tennessee, the field goal made by Mississippi State, they could very easily be 11-0 against a Michigan team that, believe it or not, overall has a losing record in bowls, 14-15, and is going to the Citrus Bowl for the first time. So you get the defending national co-champions down there. That excites the Citrus Bowl, folks. And they'll take on an Arkansas team that has a lot of momentum, had a great season under Houston Nutt, and the Hog fans should flock to your town there, beautiful downtown Orlando, and have a great time.
Arkansas is going to beautiful downtown Orlando, and beautiful downtown Orlando is ready for them. They're ready for the pickup trucks, the hog hats, Suey Piggy, what's that guy's name? Jeff Foxworthy. And can you imagine who they're playing against? Michigan. Oh, Michigan.
What are you trying to say about my boys from Arkansas?
Be careful, my friend.
Is this a different cultures or what? Battle of two cultures.
What's that?
I'm Foxworthy.
That's you. That's you.
Right.
Hogs, everything else.
That's right.
All that
Hog
stuff.
hats.
All right, well, if you're looking at on the field, talking about Arkansas, this is not a typical SEC team. A little bit more like the Big Ten. They're tough in the interior, big, strong, experienced. Michigan will match up very well with them in that aspect, and I think Michigan's defense, which they've done all year, will force Arkansas to throw hey, which Arkansas has done all year. Clint Sterner, I know that everybody remembers him for the fumble, but he has had a great year. If he can throw, they can beat Michigan.
What's the Michigan motivation going to be? Again,